Good morning, John. It's still morning. Yes, we have a little while to go before noon. Right. Um, re, re, Revisiting Elliot Mintz's memoir, We All Shine On. Yes. Now, um, this was a good book. It was one of the best books I've read. And it's a fast read, and it's a fun read, and it's a insightful memoir. I really love Elliot. I think he is a real character, and God knows John really loves him too. So we're going to kind of address a little bit here and there uh, matters that Elliot brought up. Now, in his book, he repeatedly, John, yes, not just once or twice, in his book, he repeatedly, look at this nose, he repeatedly questions aloud, why did the Lennons kind of adopt me the way they did? Yeah. Like, he even said he felt like he was married to you. Like, you as a couple, not just you and Yoko as a couple, he felt like that was his marriage. There was no room in his life for anything else, except for his job, which he was very good at. And still is. He's very successful public relations journalist, interviewer. But and he just turned 80. God bless you. Happy birthday, Elliot. What are you saying, John? Let's try to stay on topic. All right. Well, I wanted to wish him a happy birthday. That's totally fine, and you should wish him a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Ellie. So, may I? Yes, of course you may. He questions often in the book why him? Why us? You know, he was in the right place at the right time. He put himself in our path. He put himself directly in Mother's path and my path as an interviewer, right? And quite frankly, we needed a parent. You and Yoko needed a parent. Yes. We needed a protector. We needed someone outside of us who we felt loved us. And he gained our trust via numerous telephone conversations before we ever met him in person. And we became his children. And that's where the confusion maybe is a little bit with him. He because he never he would never be so presumptuous to say that, right? Because really he is not presumptuous. And you know, we kind of joked in the previous video when we started reviewing this book that he's full of shit. He was a Beatle fan, and of course he was. We forgive him for saying that he had ulterior, and if he had ulterior motives to get to me through Yoko, that's totally fine with me. It worked out fine. Made a good friend. And he indeed remains a good friend to my son, to both sons. He's there for them, and they know that. But yeah, we needed a protector. And that was something I guess he never really saw himself as. And he felt blessed by the relationship with us because we were so interesting to be around. And we tried to make the relationship interesting for him. We tried to keep him in the loop and let him know how much we loved him all the time. Because we did. He is the only one, really, that did not betray us in some way before and after my earthly demise. He still remains an important figure in my family's life, my earthly family's life, and a loyal, inconspicuous, not an opportunist in the least. Look, he just turned 80 and he finally finished a book about his life with us. He could have, you know, he mentioned, right, okay, May Pang. He mentions her several times. Yes, because regardless of what a nice person she may be perceived to be, she's an opportunist. She's given a million interviews about uh, our sexual relationship, about Yoko's uh, idiosyncrasies. She's very nasty sometimes about Yoko. She can't help herself. Very jealous and angry the way things turned out. I'm not blaming her, and Elliot doesn't blame her either. But she is an opportunist in the sense that she made her living doing uh, interviews and books and stuff based on 18 months of her life with me. And Elliot finally addressed that, and he did so in a very chivalrous way. He said, I wish her the best. She seemed like a nice person, but, at the end of the day, he went back to Yoko, and guess what? I'm setting the record straight. It has nothing to do with him being brainwashed because, yes, I set up the hypnotist for him to quit smoking. And yeah, it didn't work. He never quit smoking. He couldn't stop. Neither could Yoko. And guess what? You're lying. He was not brainwashed, or you're telling yourself that because it makes it more palatable to you rather than think that he went back to his wife. Which, by the way, I told her all along I'd be going back to Yoko. Listen, I don't know where this is going with you and me, May, but I'll tell you one thing. I am not giving up on Yoko. So you take that and you know that, right? So, and she was, for whatever reason, I guess hung up on the whole scene with me. Right. Everything, right down to the down and dirty stuff. She was addicted to that, like women can be just as well as men. You mean addicted to sex? Yeah, the power that it made her feel. I think more than anything, it made her feel very powerful. This guy wants to fuck me, right? This guy, this very, very important guy. There's no getting away from that being part of what made her tick, and still makes her tick. And, again, Elliot addressed that in a very chivalrous way, but he was also very much tough love. Hey, but those are the breaks, kids. He went back to the one he really needed to be with. And yeah, I love this woman. You know that, Lena. Yes, I do. She's the best friend I ever had. And this guy is one of them too. Right up there. Yeah, it's a great book. Thanks, Sean. Is there anything else you want to say? We could cover it here and there as we go along, but I wanted to get those points across that, yes, Elliot, only for the reason that in the book he asks many times, why me? Why did they choose? Because you made an excellent parent. And you go on to say, if not for John and Yoko, who knows, I might have gotten married and had a family of my own, but it was not to be in this life. But you know what? You did have children. You had us. You saw yourself as being adopted somewhat by us, but really, you adopted us. We chose you. We became very dependent on you. Could see the way we acted, like spoiled children, many times. I'm sorry for the times I was nasty to you and when I was drinking. I have a bad temper. I've had issues with my temper. But we all have issues. But it never once meant that I didn't love you. And I do. That's just simply absolutely lovely. So John wanted to say that, and I second that, and I'm sure Yoko thirds it, and I know Sean and Julian feel very warm feelings toward you. Again, cannot recommend this book enough. It is among the top books that John recommends. We All Shine On by publicist extraordinaire Elliot Mintz. He mentions Elliot Mintz also mentions the betrayal and the underhanded dealings of Frederick Seaman, yes, the guy who wrote a very popular memoir, The Last Days of John Lennon, who also stole diaries and was uh, under investigation for stealing from the apartment, the Dakota, after John crossed over. And yeah, I get a crappy feeling from Seaman. I met him briefly online, and he seemed like a sleazy guy. I don't want to cast aspersions. John, how do you feel about? He was a betrayal. He was somebody I wanted to consider a friend, but he was in no way in the same league that uh, Elliot was. And for the record, he was very jealous of Elliot. Really, yes, he was very jealous of our relationship with Elliot. You notice he doesn't really talk about Elliot too much in the book, but when he does, it's in a kind of in his book, Fred Seaman's book. But when he does, it's kind of in a nasty, offhanded way, like Elliot's some kind of sycophant. Meanwhile, nothing could be really further from the truth. It's really not true. And I mean, he's Elliot has access to the most famous people in the world, from Bob Dylan to just everybody, Joan Baez, just everybody. His best friend was David Cassidy, living in L.A. He's a very unassuming, very sweet man, and not easily impressed by fame. He admires many artists, but he's a down-to-earth guy. I love that guy. Yeah. Seaman, on the other hand, felt like he walked into some kind of trippy movie where he gets to be with a star, and he used the situation to his advantage up and after my demise, and he was called out on it, and he's very angry about it. Very angry about the fact that things didn't quite go his way. As he said, dead Lennons make big money. I'm gonna be set for life. Those were his words. He's a rotten fink, and somebody who I had hoped was a friend and a trusted assistant. Fred Seaman is not that. Elliot Mintz, trusted friend, family member, family member. Again, May Pang, opportunist, user, embellisher of stories, sometimes just lies outright to suit herself. She's a damaged woman, came from a damaged background where she was very much treated like shit by her biological father, and therefore she carried her issues into her relationship with me, allowing herself to be treated a certain way, and then allowing herself to be discarded and taken back and discarded again by me. Again, this is John. I have done penance for these things, and I am still doing penance for them. But she's going to have her own penance, and actually, I believe she is living her penance right now. And once again, Elliot Mintz covers May Pang quite graciously and quite honorably, and with tremendous insight and empathy as well. He's a real mensch. This guy's a real champ. And, that's all I can say. I love him. I love him to death. And long live Elliot Mintz. Oh, that's great. Oh, isn't that nice? So we read this book right around for Yoko's birthday, which was really nice. And he portrays her just beautifully. One more person that he mentions in the book is John Green, the tarot card reader, a.k.a. Charlie Swan. And he's kind of nasty about Charlie Swan also. Charlie Swan became an opportunist after he was kicked to the curb. You see, everything's all smiles and roses before, but once he was let go from Yoko's employ, he really missed that paycheck, and he became an opportunist to try to get money. So he was a betrayal also. And yes, we've had Charlie Swan on and been interviewed. Yes, he's doing penance for it, and for the record, I like the guy. I still like the guy. He's a good soul. Everybody makes mistakes, and we move on. I love you, John. You're so fucking good. You're so good at this. Oh, baby. Praise be God and Mother. Oh, sweetheart. Yeah. Don't do that. I'm not doing them. Yes, you are. So, again, this is Twin Flame Team, Lena Jane and Johnny Lennon, as we continue to review, we're not done yet, Elliot Mintz's powerful memoir, John, Yoko, and Me, We All Shine On. Yeah, baby.